For an Atlanta Hawks franchise that's finished in the bottom half of the NBA in terms of defensive rating each of the past 7 seasons and who hasn't had a player selected to the All-Defense second team since Paul Millsap in 2016 and who hasn't had a player in the All-Defense first team since Dikembe Mutombo way back in 1998, the idea of a 21-year-old Dyson Daniels finishing as a top 5 defender in the league this season was met by a lot of skepticism, especially with him being seen as a mere trade piece from the DeJounte Murray deal and also with Daniels having only played 20 minutes per game last season for the Pelicans. But so far, early into his career as a Hawks player, Daniels is very much on pace to live up to his goal of making the All-Defense first team this season, which is something he talked about during Media Day. The 21-year-old Australian is currently wreaking chaos on the defensive end by leading the NBA in steals and deflections by ridiculous margins. After his first 15 games of the season, Daniels has currently recorded a total of 48 steals, while no other player in the league has recorded more than 40 this season. Daniels has also totaled 102 deflections so far, which is actually 45 more than what second placers De'Aaron Fox and Jalen Williams have produced. What's even crazier is that Daniels at 6'8" joins 7'4" Victor Wembanyama as the only 2 players so far to have averaged at least 4 blocks and steals combined per game among all players who have played 20 minutes per contest this season. Well, during his first 2 years in the NBA with the Pelicans, Daniels already had a reputation of being an incredible defender. However, because he was only a career 31% three-point shooter and because of his microscopic 12% usage rate last season, defenses basically disregarded him when he had the ball in his hands. But now in Atlanta, things have been different on the offensive end, as the underrated part of Daniels' breakout this season has been his increased confidence as an offensive player. Well, for sure, his 30% three-point shooting clip is still bad and his 61% free throw mark is still below average for a guard. But what I love about Daniels right now is that, unlike when he was in New Orleans where he would pass up shots after missing a couple, now in Atlanta, he's looking unafraid to put the ball on the floor or let a three-pointer fly despite missing shots even in late-game situations. Thanks to a higher usage as part of Coach Quinn Snyder's rotation, Daniels is currently attempting more than 13 shots per game, which is more than double his average last season. And as a result, he's also currently putting up 14.2 points per contest, which is almost triple his less than 5-point scoring average last season. So what's good everyone, it's Real Balls here, and in this video, let's take a deeper dive into Dyson Daniels' game on both ends of the floor and how he's putting the NBA in notice. So let's get to it. His raw numbers on the defensive end are already fascinating, but what I really want to find out is how much Dyson Daniels' defense is actually worth for the Atlanta Hawks when you quantify it in a more advanced manner. So combining data from NBA Advanced Statistics and Cleaning the Glass, taking into account the Hawks' defensive rating, as well as the bump in offensive rating they receive in possessions that begin with a steal, the results show that each steal that a Hawks player generates this season is worth approximately 1.53 points per possession, which means that with the number of steals that Dyson Daniels has accumulated, the Hawks have already added a whopping 67 points to their scoreboard, which is the highest mark produced by any Hawks player out of steals this season. Putting this into context, the Hawks currently have a minus 5.3 net rating, which is the 7th worst mark in the entire NBA. But if Dyson Daniels actually was accumulating steals at a lower volume, like say if it was putting up just 1.4 steals per game, which was DeJounte Murray's average last season, then Atlanta's net rating this season would actually drop to minus 7.3, which would be the 4th worst mark in the entire league right now. So basically, you could argue that Dyson Daniels' presence in Atlanta's roster could be the difference between them being a scrappy team and being a bottom feeder in the Eastern Conference. This is also backed up by the eye test, because when you watch the film, you can just see how Daniels perfectly utilizes his 6'8" frame and 6'11" wingspan, and how he combines it with his exceptional anticipation and hand-eye coordination to create chaos on the defensive end. First of all, I really like how well Daniels defends in ball screen situations. He may seem to lag behind screens at first, but just when a ball handler looks to be having his way, Daniels uses his long arms and quick hands to karate chop the ball out of their hands. In this possession, you can see him guarding LaMelo Ball, who's about to use a high ball screen. Just as LaMelo is about to pick up his dribble, without even having fully navigated the screen, Daniels just extends his hands, forcing LaMelo to lose the ball as the Hawks regain possession. Then here, you can see Daniels defending Cam Thomas off the dribble handoff, and you can see that as Thomas turns and rejects the screen, it seems like he's going to blow by Daniels, but then Daniels just reaches for the ball from behind, forcing the rack into Okongwu's hands. Then in this play, you can see Daniels guarding Jordan Poole, who uses the ball screen, but Daniels is able to stick with him in the lane. The second ball screen from Sarr forces the switch, but Daniels quickly recovers to the paint and just pokes the ball out of Sarr's hands as he gets another stop. The number of times Daniels has gotten deflections this season is actually ridiculous. He's averaging a league-leading 6.8 deflections per contest so far, and for context, the league leader in deflections last season, Alex Caruso, only averaged 3.7 per game. But then, Daniels has also time and again showcased his quick hands by straight up embarrassing a couple of guys by picking their dribble right at midcourt without giving them a chance to establish position. Here, Daniels is guarding Cade Cunningham, but right as Cade is about to cross midcourt, Daniels uses his frame to slow him down and just disrupts him and totally forces the ball out of his hands. This time, Daniels picks up Josh Giddey right at center court, but with the Bulls running a delay action here with Vucevic and Kobe White, Daniels already knows where the ball is going, so he just waits for Giddey to turn and he just pokes the ball out of Giddey's hands, resulting in the easy fast break finish. But Daniels doesn't even have to be guarding on ball all the time to force turnovers. He positions himself really well off the ball and is just able to force a ton of mistakes by just reading the floor and anticipating where passes are going. Here, you can see Washington running a double drag action trying to get the ball to Jordan Poole off the handoff, but you can see Daniels trailing him well off the screen. Valanciunas makes the mistake of trying to pass with Daniels around as his long arms just gets the deflection as Atlanta ends the possession. Then in this play, Daniels is standing right around the elbow, defending opposite the Celtics pick and roll. Sam Hauser messes up by making a long pass to Tatum, which Daniels just disrupts with his quick hands, which again results in an easy fast break finish for Atlanta. Daniels is definitely making a strong case as the best perimeter defender in the NBA right now, but then what hasn't been talked about enough is how he's also displaying a huge shift on the offensive end. Prior to this season, there were a ton of questions about how Daniels could possibly fit in Quinn Snyder's ball movement heavy offense, considering that last season, Daniels just averaged less than 6 points per game with a true shooting clip which ranked in the 19th percentile and a usage rate which only ranked in the 13th percentile of the entire NBA. Well, the thing is, right now in Atlanta, again, despite him almost tripling his scoring average from last season, Daniels' three-point shooting could still definitely use some work, especially considering more than half of his three-point attempts right now come off the catch, and yet he's only converting 29.8% of those catch-and-shoot attempts from deep. His three-point shot is obviously the massive swing skill that could dictate Daniels' ceiling as a potential long-term offensive fit next to Trae Young on the Hawks' backcourt. Although with that being said, Daniels always had a strong and reliable floater game, but what I like about his offensive game right now is that he's become one of Atlanta's most efficient scorers at the rim, as he's converting almost 70% of his shots within 3 feet of the basket, up from just a 62% conversion rate at the rim last season with the Pelicans. Plus, Daniels' current 8.6 drives per game average is also the third most in Atlanta, behind Trae Young and Jalen Johnson. While he doesn't have super explosive speed off the dribble, but he is quick enough to blow by bigger wings, and has been getting better at utilizing his length and his 6'11" wingspan to pull off some crafty finishes around the basket. In this possession, watch how Daniels straight up attacks the defense of 7'1" Chet Holmgren, using a quick spin move and taking off one step early to avoid Chet's long arms as he's able to finish at the rim. Then here, Daniels uses a quick shot fake to get the much slower Nick Richards out of position. He uses one quick burst to get into his driving lane and uses that quick semi-scoop to avoid getting denied around the basket. But then, Daniels is also a smart cutter who constantly rotates off the ball in order to open up easy scoring chances for himself. Having this skill set while playing alongside an elite passing point guard in Trae Young and an above-average playmaking wing in Jalen Johnson just makes Daniels fit like a glove in the Hawks' offensive system, which is built around sharing the ball. Here in semi-transition, Trae Young quickly attacks off the ball screen, and in the opposite corner, you can see Daniels taking advantage of the defense collapsing on Trae Young as he cuts through the open baseline, catching the lob and finishing right at the basket. Then in this possession, Jalen Johnson has the ball in the post while you can see the Hawks running some delay action at the top of the key, with Garrison Matthews setting an off-ball screen here for Daniels, who cuts right into the paint and is an easy outlet target for the pass from Jalen Johnson. Well, I would personally love to see more pick and rolls between Trae Young and Daniels, because running those guard-to-guard screen actions just seems to open up a lot of scoring chances for Atlanta. Right here, after setting the ghost screen for Trae Young, Daniels quickly slips right into the paint. Now he's got a ton of space to launch his floater even before Vucevic is able to bother him. Then right here, Daniels again sets the high screen for Trey. Trey makes the pass at the right time, and on the short roll, Daniels already knows where his target is, as he makes the connective pass to Jalen Johnson, who drains the corner three-pointer. Well, speaking of his playmaking, although he's only averaging 3.2 assists per game so far, Daniels' current 12.8 turnover percentage is actually a career low, which is actually encouraging considering the increase in ball handling and playmaking duties he's experiencing in Atlanta. He's making the right types of passes, whether it be on the pick and roll or in transition, and he's just really becoming the type of secondary ball handler that the team needs next to Trae Young. Overall, it's just hard for me not to get overly excited about the on-court growth we're witnessing from Dyson Daniels, who's only 21 years old. It's crazy that while he's still currently on his rookie contract, only making $6 million this season, he already has a shot at being named to an NBA All-Defense team by the end of the year, while also having a strong case to win the Most Improved Player award. Again, his offense is still a work in progress, but as long as he keeps letting it rip with confidence when he has the ball in his hands, the Hawks should continue to benefit from him on the floor with his already elite turnover creation. But most importantly, Daniels already looks like he's going to be an important piece for this Atlanta Hawks team once they're ready to get back to NBA title contention. So thank you guys if you've actually made it this far into the video, but what do you think is a realistic ceiling for Dyson Daniels? Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this has been Rero Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.